The first night my 8-year-old daughter came home from my mother's house, she pushed a chair under her bedroom doorknob. I moved it. She started crying. "Mommy, please, put it back." The next morning, my mother laughed when I told her, "Stop feeding her fear. She had one bad dream." But my daughter wasn't afraid of dreams. She was afraid of someone opening her door. 2 days later, a pediatric counselor asked her one question, and Lily suddenly stopped talking. That night, Mom texted me, "Stop asking her questions about my house. You're confusing her." There was only one problem. I had never told my mother we'd spoken to a counselor, and by Friday, she was calling me from a phone number I didn't recognize. "My name is Claire Donovan." And that was when I realized my mother wasn't trying to calm my daughter down. She was trying to stop me from finding out why she was afraid of that door. Welcome to Before She Spoke Stories. My daughter, Lily, was 8 when she came home from my mother's house and carried her overnight bag straight upstairs. Usually, she dumped everything in the hallway and started telling me stories before I could get her shoes off. That Sunday, she barely spoke. At bedtime, I found her pushing her desk chair across the carpet. She wedged it under her doorknob. I asked why. She whispered, "Just leave it there tonight, Mommy." I told Lily she was safe. She checked the window lock herself, then the closet. Then she asked whether I would stay until she fell asleep. Before I turned off the lamp, she pointed at the chair again. "If that's there, nobody can come in, right?" I said yes. Her shoulders finally relaxed. That was when I realized she wasn't afraid of something imaginary under the bed. She was afraid of the door opening. The next morning, I called my mother, Marianne. I kept my voice casual. "Did Lily have trouble sleeping at your house?" Mom laughed. "She had one bad dream. Don't make it into a whole thing." I asked what the dream was about. Mom paused, then said, "I don't remember. Kids say weird things." What bothered me wasn't the answer. It was how quickly she wanted the conversation finished. That week, Lily stopped changing into pajamas. She slept in leggings, a t-shirt, and socks. The first night I asked about it, she said she was cold, but the heat was on. Then I noticed she had started keeping her little backpack beside the bed with shoes inside it. When I asked why, she shrugged. "In case I need to go somewhere fast." 8-year-olds don't usually prepare escape bags because of one bad dream. 3 days later, Mom texted asking whether Lily could sleep over again Friday. I said no. She called immediately. "Claire, don't reward this behavior." I asked what behavior she meant. "The dramatics, the door locking, whatever she's doing now." I hadn't told Mom about the chair. I went quiet. Then she added, "You're feeding her fear." I asked, "How do you know what she's doing at bedtime?" Mom didn't answer that question. I scheduled an appointment with a pediatric counselor named Dr. Avery Cole. I told Lily it wasn't because she had done anything wrong. Most of the appointment was simple: school, friends, sleep. Then Dr. Cole gently asked, "Who told you adults are allowed to come into your room after you say no?" Lily's entire face changed. She looked down at her hands, and she stopped talking. "What would you have done at that point? Questioned Lily yourself? Or stopped asking and let a professional guide the next steps?" Share your answer and subscribe to Before She Spoke Stories. That evening, Mom texted me, "Stop asking Lily questions about my house. You're confusing her." I read the message twice. I had never told Mom we saw a counselor. I hadn't told my sister. I hadn't posted anything. The only people who knew were me, Lily, Dr. Cole, and the receptionist. I typed, "Who told you I was asking her questions?" Mom didn't reply for 47 minutes. Then she wrote, "I know my granddaughter." Thursday night, Lily came into my bedroom carrying her blanket. "Am I going to Grandma's tomorrow?" I said no. She stared at me like she needed more. So I added, "You won't go anywhere without me telling you first." Her eyes filled with tears. Then she hugged me so hard it hurt. After a minute, she whispered, "Even if Grandma says you said yes?" I pulled back. "Has Grandma ever told you that?" Lily immediately shook her head. Too quickly. I called Mom again and asked who had been at her house during Lily's last overnight. She named herself, Lily, and my stepfather. Then I asked whether anyone visited. Mom became irritated. "Why are you interrogating me?" That wasn't an answer. Later that night, Lily was drawing at the kitchen table when she casually mentioned, "Grandma said Uncle Darren was only staying downstairs." My pencil stopped moving. Mom hadn't mentioned Darren at all. Friday morning, my phone rang from an unfamiliar number. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. My mother's voice came through immediately. "Claire, you need to stop this before you ruin people's lives." I looked at the screen. "Why are you calling from someone else's phone?" Silence. Then Mom said, "Because you're not listening." I asked one question. "Where is Darren right now?" The line went dead. I called my mother back from my work phone. This time she answered. I asked how long Darren had been staying there. Mom said, "A few nights, maybe a week." Then she immediately added, "He sleeps downstairs. He barely even sees Lily." That sentence bothered me. I had never asked where he slept. I had only asked whether he was there. Mom was defending something before I had accused anyone of anything. That evening, I sat beside Lily while she colored. I didn't ask what happened. Dr. Cole had warned me not to turn home into another interrogation room, so I asked something smaller. "Did Uncle Darren eat breakfast with you?" Lily's crayon stopped. Then she said, "Grandma says we don't have to tell every little thing that happens at her house." I kept my voice steady. "Did Grandma tell you that recently?" Lily started coloring again. The next morning, Lily locked the bathroom door while brushing her teeth. She had never done that before. When I knocked, she asked, "Who is it?" "It's me." She opened the door immediately. Then she said, "At Grandma's, they said locking doors is rude." I asked who "they" meant. She looked frightened and shook her head. I didn't push. But another piece had moved into place. Her fear wasn't just about bedtime, it was about privacy. At our second appointment, Dr. Cole didn't ask Lily for a detailed story. She focused on safety. Did Lily feel safe at home? Yes. Did she want to return to Grandma's? No. Then she spoke to me privately. "Don't confront anyone in front of Lily. Don't promise outcomes you can't control. Write down exact statements, dates, and behavior changes." I started a notebook that same afternoon. It filled faster than I expected. Mom showed up unannounced Sunday morning. Lily saw her through the window and ran upstairs. That alone made my stomach tighten. Mom noticed. "See what you're doing to her?" I told her Lily would not be staying overnight again. Mom's expression changed. "You can't punish me because she's suddenly afraid of everything." I said, "I'm not punishing you." She answered, "Then let me take her Friday." She was still pushing. Mom raised her voice from the porch. "Lily, Grandma loves you." Upstairs, I heard something hit the floor. I ended the conversation and locked the door. When I found Lily, she was sitting beside her bed, breathing too fast. She asked, "Is she taking me?" I said no. Then Lily whispered something I wrote down exactly. "Grandma said moms don't get to make every rule at Grandma's house." That sentence stayed with me. That night, Mom sent a long message. She brought up every anxious moment I'd ever had as a parent. The time Lily fell off her bike. The fever that sent us to urgent care. The school bus mix-up. Then she wrote, "You've always been overprotective. Now Lily is copying you." For 10 minutes, I actually wondered if she was right. Then I looked upstairs. The chair was under Lily's doorknob again. The next morning, Lily said something while tying her shoes. "At Grandma's, my door used to lock." I stopped. Used to? She nodded. Grandma had Mr. Harris change it because Uncle Darren needed the closet. I knew Mr. Harris. He had done repairs at Mom's house for years. I remembered Mom forwarding me an invoice before Lily's visit because she complained about the price. I searched my messages. The work had been done 12 days before the overnight. I found the invoice. Mom had described it as fixing a broken bedroom knob. That wasn't what the line item said. Remove functioning privacy lock. Install passage knob. There was nothing broken. Someone had deliberately changed a bedroom door from one Lily could lock to one she couldn't. Under the technician's notes were 4 words. Owner requested constant access. I stared at that sentence. Then I remembered what was inside that bedroom closet. I grew up in Mom's house. Behind the guest room closet was a narrow access panel leading into the attic above the garage. We almost never used it. I asked Lily, "Did Darren go into the closet?" She nodded. At night. How many times? She held up 3 fingers. Then she said, "Grandma told me he had to. His stuff was in there." Suddenly, this wasn't about one adult forgetting to knock. They had removed the lock because they already knew he would be entering. At our next appointment, Dr. Cole let Lily explain things in her own order. Darren didn't enter while she was playing. He waited until after Grandma put her to bed. The first time, he opened the door, turned on the closet light, and started moving plastic tubs through the attic panel. Lily asked him to leave. He said, "I'll be done when I'm done." Then he came back again 20 minutes later. Lily told Dr. Cole she eventually went downstairs. Grandma was awake watching television. Lily said Darren kept coming into her room. Mom's response? "It's my house, sweetheart. Adults sometimes need access to rooms." Lily said, "But I told him no." Grandma answered, "You don't get to make rules about rooms that aren't yours." That was the sentence Lily had brought home with her. Not fear of darkness, fear that saying no didn't count. Dr. Cole gently asked why Lily had stopped wearing pajamas. Her answer almost broke me. At Grandma's, Uncle Darren said I might have to come downstairs if he needed more room for boxes. So Lily kept her clothes on. Not because anyone told her to prepare for danger, because she didn't know when an adult might enter again and tell her to leave her bed. She had turned sleep into something she needed to be ready to interrupt. I asked Lily where she got the idea to block her door. She said she tried putting a laundry basket against the guest room door at Grandma's house. Grandma moved it. She said I was being dramatic. Then Lily whispered, "So I thought a chair would be heavier." I had spent days wondering what terrible secret that chair represented. The answer was painfully simple. My daughter had discovered that adults wouldn't protect her privacy, so she tried to build privacy herself. I called Mom and asked what Darren had stored in the attic. "Just personal things." "What things?" "Why does that matter?" "Because he was entering Lily's bedroom after she asked him not to." Mom sighed. "Claire, it was storage. Nobody touched her. Nobody hurt her." That sentence mattered. I had never accused Darren of touching her. Mom had already reduced the entire issue to the narrowest defense she could find. What would you have done? Keep confronting Grandma or stop talking and find out what was important enough to justify removing a child's bedroom lock? Share your answer and subscribe to Before She Spoke Stories. Darren had been staying with Mom after his contracting business collapsed, and his marriage began falling apart. According to Mom, he had lost almost everything. But Lily described dozens of sealed tubs in the attic, tool cases, document boxes, 2 large black trunks, and something wrapped in furniture blankets. That didn't sound like a man who owned nothing. I wasn't interested in his divorce, but I was becoming very interested in why Mom needed his belongings hidden inside a room Lily used. Darren's estranged wife, Mallory, called after hearing he had been staying at Mom's. She wasn't calling about Lily. She wanted to know whether Darren still had business equipment. During their separation, he had claimed most of it had been sold to cover debts. I told her I couldn't help with their financial dispute. Then she said, That's strange. Because he told my attorney there's nothing stored at Marianne's. I didn't answer. Now Darren had lied to 2 different households about the same attic. I checked my old texts with Mom. 1 week before Lily's overnight, Mom had asked whether I could take Lily Saturday instead of Friday because she was having insulation work done. There had been no insulation work. Lily later remembered Darren carrying tubs upstairs that Friday evening. Mom had changed the bedroom lock 12 days before, moved Darren's property upstairs 7 days before, then invited my daughter to sleep in the only room providing easy attic access. That wasn't bad timing. That was planning. The house had a folding attic ladder in the garage. It was inconvenient, but it worked. I knew because Dad used it when we were children. I asked Mom why Darren didn't use that entrance. Her answer was, his back has been bothering him. I actually went quiet. An adult man's sore back had apparently mattered more than an 8-year-old asking to sleep behind a locked door. Every explanation Mom gave was making the choice clearer. Then I found the detail I couldn't explain away. Mom had asked for that specific overnight. I originally suggested the following weekend. She insisted on Friday. Why? Because Darren planned to move the last of his boxes through the attic before Saturday morning. Mom knew he would need Lily's bedroom repeatedly. She didn't accidentally discover a conflict after Lily arrived. She scheduled my daughter into a room she already knew would not remain private, and then blamed Lily when she became afraid. Dr. Cole told me something I needed to hear. You don't need Marianne to agree that Lily's boundary mattered. So I stopped trying to make Mom understand. I saved the handyman invoice, documented Lily's statements exactly, kept the messages about the overnight date, and told Mom there would be no more unsupervised visits while I figured out what happened. Her response came in less than a minute. You are punishing me for helping my son. That was revealing all by itself. Within 2 days, family members were checking on me. Mom told them I had become obsessed with a bedroom lock. She said Darren went into the room once for storage, and Lily had turned it into something frightening because I encouraged her. I didn't correct everyone. The truth didn't require 15 separate arguments. But one detail in Mom's version bothered me. She kept saying once. Lily had consistently said 3 times. Someone was trying to shrink the timeline. Darren finally called. He said, I cracked the door, grabbed one box and left. I asked whether he entered more than once. No. I asked whether Lily told him not to come back. She was half asleep. She probably doesn't remember correctly. I wrote his words down. Then I asked, if you only needed one box, why did Mom remove the bedroom lock 12 days earlier? Darren didn't answer. He hung up. I texted Mom one last question. Why did you remove the lock before Lily stayed there? Her response arrived angry and fast, because Darren needed access and I told him to wait until she was asleep so he wouldn't bother her. I was trying to accommodate everyone. I stared at the screen. There it was. Not suspicion. Not Lily's interpretation. Mom's own words. She had planned the nighttime access before my daughter ever slept there. Less than a minute later, the message disappeared. Mom replaced it with, you're twisting everything. Too late. I had already taken screenshots. I forwarded them to Dr. Cole and saved copies with my records. What shocked me wasn't that Mom deleted it. It was that she still believed the mistake was putting the plan in writing, not creating the plan in the first place. Mallory's attorney eventually handled Darren's property issues through their own process. I stayed out of it. But Darren himself told Mom enough during an argument that she repeated it to me. The attic contained business tools, resale inventory, collectible watches, and financial records he didn't want tied up, while debts and divorce were being sorted. Mom called it protecting his future. I called it exactly what mattered to me. The reason she decided Lily's bedroom could stop being Lily's at night. I asked Mom one question. If Darren needed the room that badly, why didn't you cancel Lily's overnight? Her answer was immediate. Because she loves staying here. Then why didn't you tell me? Because you would have said no. That stopped me. Mom hadn't hidden the arrangement because she thought I would approve. She hid it because she already knew I wouldn't. My boundary wasn't unclear. It was an obstacle she planned around. Once he realized I had the screenshot, Darren changed sides quickly. He said, "Mom told me Lily sleeps through anything." Mom heard about that and exploded. She called me saying Darren had promised everything would be moved before bedtime. Both of them were suddenly correcting each other, and every correction exposed another piece. He knew Lily would be there. Mom knew he planned nighttime trips. Neither one had asked whether an 8-year-old should be expected to tolerate them. Dr. Cole didn't diagnose villains. She didn't tell me what relationship I had to have with my family. She said something much simpler. Lily has clearly communicated that she does not feel safe sleeping there right now. Respect that. So I did. No overnights, no unsupervised visits, no Darren. I also changed Lily's school pickup list and removed Mom as an emergency contact. When Mom found out, she called it an overreaction. I called it listening. Mom came to my house and stood on the porch. She said Darren was losing his marriage, his business, and possibly his home. Then she said the sentence that ended every excuse. Lily only had to put up with a few uncomfortable nights. I looked at her. There it was. The calculation. Darren's crisis on one side, my daughter's fear on the other. And Mom had weighed them. She simply thought Lily should carry the lighter end. I asked Mom, "Say that again." She frowned. I said Darren was going through something serious. No, the part about Lily. Mom looked away. She wouldn't repeat it. So I did. You knew she was uncomfortable. You knew she wanted privacy. And you decided Darren's problem mattered more. Mom started crying. I was helping my son. I said, and Lily was the price you were willing to pay for helping him. Mom said families make sacrifices for each other. I asked when Lily had volunteered. She's 8, Claire. Exactly. That was the point. Adults were making arrangements around a child and calling her compliance a family sacrifice. Mom kept insisting Darren never intended to frighten her. I answered, intent doesn't give you permission to teach my daughter that her no stops mattering when an adult has a bigger problem. For once, Mom had no quick response. A week later, Darren removed everything from Mom's attic. I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. Mallory's attorneys were dealing with whatever belonged in their financial case. My concern was simpler. Mom texted afterward. The attic is empty now. Can Lily come back Friday? I stared at the message. She still thought removing the boxes removed the betrayal. I replied. The boxes were never the main problem. She didn't ask what was. One night, Lily asked whether Grandma was angry with her. No. Is Uncle Darren? That's not something you have to manage. She thought about that, then asked, did I get him in trouble? I sat beside her. You told me something made you uncomfortable. Adults are responsible for what happens after that. She nodded slowly. I realized how much damage secrecy can do without anyone ever touching a child. It can make them believe adults' consequences belong to them. Mom left me a voicemail saying she didn't expect Lily to apologize for being afraid. Then she added, but someday she should understand Darren wasn't trying to hurt her. That was the same demand wearing nicer clothes. She still wanted Lily to reinterpret her discomfort so the adults could feel innocent. I didn't play the voicemail for Lily. I saved it. Then I told Mom, my daughter is not responsible for making grown people feel better about ignoring her boundaries. At a small family dinner without Lily, Mom repeated that I had turned storage into a crisis. I placed the handyman invoice on the table. Then her deleted text. No speeches, no dramatic recording. Just 2 documents. Lock removed before overnight. Nighttime access planned before overnight. My aunt read both and asked Mom, why didn't you just cancel the sleepover? Mom answered, because Claire would have made a big deal. My aunt said. Then you already knew it was wrong. That question changed the room. For weeks, Mom's defense depended on making me sound anxious, but anxiety didn't remove a working lock. Anxiety didn't schedule Darren's trips after bedtime. Anxiety didn't wait until she's asleep. Those decisions belong to Mom. She stopped calling relatives after that dinner, not because she agreed with me, because the version where she knew nothing no longer worked. Mom asked what she had to do to see Lily again. I told her supervised daytime contact might be possible later if Lily wanted it, and Dr. Cole thought it was healthy. Mom said, "I'm her grandmother." I answered, "That describes who you are. It doesn't guarantee access." For years, our family treated titles like permanent permission, grandma, uncle, mother. I finally understood that safety had to outrank all of them. What would you have done? Allow Grandma a path back through supervised contact, or end the relationship completely? Share your answer and subscribe to Before She Spoke Stories. It happened quietly. One evening, I checked Lily's room, and the chair was no longer under the doorknob. It was back at her desk. A week later, she stopped sleeping in socks. Then the little backpack with shoes inside disappeared from beside her bed. I never celebrated those changes in front of her. I just noticed them. Fear had arrived through repetition. Safety returned the same way, one ordinary night at a time. Months later, I walked past Lily's room after midnight. Her door was open about 6 inches. No chair, no backpack, no clothes prepared beside the bed. Just my daughter sleeping. Mom used to say I was feeding Lily's fear. She was wrong. What fed the fear was teaching an 8-year-old that an adult's inconvenience mattered more than her no. I couldn't change what happened at Grandma's house, but I could change the rule Lily carried forward. If you say you need a door closed, the people who love you should help close it.